wherever you may be, however you may be listening. Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of the Cardinals on SI podcast. My name is Donnie Druin. We are joined live from another beautiful, very, very hot day in a great state of Arizona. The Arizona Cardinals have wrapped up a mandatory minicamp after a 3-day period. What did I see? What did I like? What didn't I like? We will break all of that down here in a moment's notice. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, go to comment, like, subscribe to the channel. The help is very much appreciated. We are on the road to 2,000 subscribers, which I'm hoping to hit right before training camp. I think we are tracking that way, but all the support does indeed help. So thank you guys very, very much. And like I alluded to a little bit earlier, minicamp is done, wrapped, tucked away, however you want to describe it. The Cardinals are officially moving on to that weird period that we have as football fans where there's nothing really going on between now and the start of training camp. With Jonathan Gannon says we'll start on July 22nd. Now, whether that is rookies reporting, whether that's the actual day training camp starts, it's very unspecified, but we always do that like late July period, 20th, 22nd, 23rd, whoever that might be, was always kind of the target / ideal date for the Cardinals to hit training camp. But the first step in getting to training camp, it was a mandatory minicamp. So the Cardinals recently had a 3-day stretch at their facility where media were allowed to be there. And I got to see a whole lot of really great things. And we'll get into that here in a bit, where I got some people in the chat. Not Cardinals news, but be not doing well. Yeah, dude, that sucks, man. For those who don't know, I grew up in Pittsburgh. So I grew up a diehard Steelers fan. Obviously getting into the Arizona media market, that tapers, that fades away, but like my prime childhood is revolved around that like Big Ben, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell offensive trio. It's like to see Antonio Brown and like how far he has fallen, like that sucks. Like that really, really sucks. I don't really have any words, man. So I'm certainly hoping and praying that literally everybody involved in the situation is okay, including him. But that's just crazy. Would have been the top 3 receiver ever, in my opinion. So unfortunate for him. But on the good news, that nobody that we know of has been accused of anything that serious. 40 years on the Cardinals. Jonathan Gannon runs a very tight ship, and maybe rightfully so after seeing some other things happen around the NFL. And I've got 4 takeaways from mandatory minicamp: being there, being at the practices, talking to players, coaches, all that good stuff. So let's get right into it. I think the biggest takeaway that I had, and whenever I was trying to assemble this list of things that really stood out to me over the 3 days at their training facility in Tempe, the biggest one was postseason is not just a dream, it's an expectation now. And I think with the Cardinals leading the division last year at the bye week, taping off at the end of the season where they lost 5 of their last 7 games, something like that, missed the playoffs, missed the postseason, and for them to have invested so much capital into the defense through the free agency period, through the NFL draft. I mean, big names like Josh Sweat, Calais Campbell, Dalvin Tomlinson, and then Walter Nolan, Will Johnson, Jordan Birch, the first 3 picks in the draft. Like it's something serious. And there's a very, very big belief that the postseason should be something that happens in Arizona. And that was evident from every player we've talked to, every coach that we talked to. I do have a couple clips I'm going to pull up here in a second. The first one is going to be from Cardinals legend Calais Campbell. This post initially was him talking about what it meant to be back in Arizona, but he kind of turned that into why it would be really, really cool to kind of ride off into the sunset, and maybe some of the expectations that came with that. So here's Calais Campbell.
I mean, it's surreal. It's incredible. I mean, this is when you're a rookie and you're hoping to hear your name called in the draft, you feel like it's a dream come true. And this is a team that believed in me, and believed that I had something to offer to this game, and that's always a big deal. And then to play 9 years here, have some success, have some failures, and everything in between. This place has been, kind of, I mean, this is what football is all about. So I learned how to be an NFL football player, and you leave and you come back and have a chance to come back. I mean, this is it's been incredible, and the love I get in the building, from the other guys, from the staff. There's only a few staff members, but that feels really good. And then obviously being out in the community and like seeing the fans and how much just how happy they are to have me back. That also means a lot to me. When it's all like said and done, like I never really wanted to retire anywhere or like sign a contract or do anything like that. I just was going to ride off in the sunset, kind of pull like a Larry Fitzgerald type thing. So, I mean, he's been a great role model for me most of my career, so, or mentor. So, yeah. But so I was, it's cool to have a chance to come back and do something great here. And, obviously, teams always, every team has high aspirations going into the season, and this team's no different, and I go out there and I see us throwing the ball around and playing a little football. So, okay, we look pretty good, and I think that everything is on the table for us, right? Obviously it's a lot of work. You got to, do everything you're supposed to do, between now and training camp, and then training camp, everything has come together. But this team is special. I believe it has all the tools to make a run, and I think it'd be a great story. Being here, coming back, it would be an incredible story. So obviously, we all have dreams, and we'll see if it comes to fruition or not. But I'm eager for the opportunity.
So big dog, and obviously a lot going on. Kelly, so good morning. Good morning to everybody in the chat, man. What is popping? Happy Friday. It's my mom's birthday, so shout out to moms. Not gonna say her age over air, but doing great. But Calais Campbell, I think put it best. The team certainly has a talent, and everybody has dreams, especially at this point in the offseason too. Everybody has dreams. Everybody has those aspirations. But you can really feel it in the building. And the next clip I'm going to play is from Jonathan Gannon. I asked him personally, excuse me, whatever's going around, I have it apparently. I asked Gannon personally, you've been on some really great teams. You've been on some special teams. What do you think can really be like an early indicator of a great team? Like can you really sense it this early in the process? And this is what Gannon offered to say.
That the box that I think that we checked through this last eight weeks are they care about each other, and they understand that we need everybody in that locker room to do what we want to do, and they take care of each other. I call it protecting your teammates. They take care of each other, and they compete. So those are two good things. If you're a highly competitive team and you care about each other, then that sets forth a foundation that you can try to improve every day and win games.
So it certainly seems like there's those expectations moving into 2025, and rightfully so. I mean, with how last season ended and the improvements made, you feel really good about kind of where you are in that aspect. Obviously, you look across the division, like the Rams didn't get any worse, and then the 49ers got a few key pieces back. And then the Seahawks are kind of in that same boat as the Cardinals, I feel like, where like they could make a push for the postseason. It wouldn't shock a whole lot of people, but also they're kind of just in that we don't really know until we get on the grass kind of thing. I'm going to go with 40 years old. That's my guess. That's my guess. 40 years old. I think my mom would definitely appreciate that. But postseason expectations are very real in the desert. I think that was my biggest takeaway from being at mandatory minicamp is everybody from Calais, who you heard from, Jonathan Gannon, who you heard from Kyler Murray, who said that, do I think this team has what it takes? And the answer is yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Bobby J asked, Cards the best AZ sports team currently? I think so. Bobby, I think I might put that towards the Arizona State Sun Devils football program. I think what ASU did last year, making a college football playoff, they did lose Scatterboo, but Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson looks to be one of the best connections in the nation. Kenny Dillingham, I think, has really, really earned the right to be one of, if not the best head coach in the Valley at this point in time. If we're going professional sports teams, yeah. You look across the landscape. D-backs are not having fun right now. Suns are not having fun right now. We'll see if Kevin Durant or Bradley Beal can change that. But I think the Cardinals were definitely in the best spot to make the postseason out of the 3 professional teams heading into 2025. And obviously, Kelly and Phoenix does agree. Moving on to my next biggest takeaway. It's real. It's real. Marvin Harrison Jr., the Maserati is revving up for 2025. And there was a very big disappointment with what had happened in Marv's rookie season. But you look at the stat line and you just can't watch him play in this offense and compare him to Malik Neighbors or Brian Thomas Jr., like whoever it might be. Like night and day different scenarios. I think for what Marv was asked to do and maybe the mishandling of him in his rookie year by offensive coordinator Drew Petzing, I think he did great. I really, really do. Like, and that's not just lip service. Like, it's also a very common shared theme among people at the facility, whatever it might be. And Bobby, that was going to be my next point, is that, you so often hear about that transformation from year 1 to year 2 into the players' careers. And Marvin Harrison Jr. definitely bulked up. He for sure looks the part of an NFL receiver, but more so than anything, I think the most impressive thing about Marv for me is going to be the little details off of the field. What he's able to do, what he's able to command just in terms of defensive attention. He's well aware of it now. And people forget at the beginning of his rookie season, he had very, very little time with Kyler Murray in like live game reps. I think Marv played 3 snaps during the preseason. Kyler didn't play any. Throw him into the Wolves, aka on the road at Buffalo week 1, and he was being bracketed. Marvin Harrison Jr. did not receive any sustainable reps, and he was getting double teamed in his first game. And that kind of just really, really set him back mentally. I feel like he talked later in the season, said, that game was going very, very fast for him. That's still real Donnie hours. Always are, my brother. Thanks for popping in. Year 2, he talked a lot, or heading into year 2, Marvin Harrison Jr. talked a lot about getting the fine details of the NFL down when watching film, like not necessarily his routes, but where are defenders? Where are they attacking him throughout the route? What can you do a little bit better after the catch? Like just a small little minute details that separates good from great. And I've talked to so many people about this, and it's like, look, if you had a NFL receiver built into a lab, it would be Marvin Harrison Jr., just in terms of handling media, in terms of work ethic, like approaching his craft. Like Marvin Harrison Jr., you can very much tell was raised by a Hall of Fame receiver. It's in the blood. I'm still convinced if Marv was like dropped off somewhere and had no contact with his dad, like somehow, some way, he would still be the animal that he is. Tailgate him still 10 minutes late. Come on, man. Hashtag Rodoni Hours. Hashtag Rick G. Brats with the senior discount at TGF Fridays. I haven't been to TGF Fridays in a minute, my man. Big Chili's guy over here. Triple Dippers. It's absolutely where it's at. But I do believe a sophomore surge is incoming. I think Drew Petzing is going to be a little bit smarter with how he approaches everything, especially in terms to Marvin Harrison Jr. I think the physical jump Marv is about to take is going to be notable. I think the mental jump he's about to take is going to be more notable. More time on task with Kyler. Like, he's able to slow things down now. I really, really think 2025 is going to be a good year for Marvin Harrison Jr. That leads me to my next point. The offense has evolved. For those who don't know, we in the media are not allowed to necessarily report what we see after the first 20 minutes of practice. There's an open portion and there's a closed portion. The open portion of practice is mostly just stretching and individual drills, no team stuff. As soon as team stuff begins, that's when they close practice. We're allowed to watch, but we are not allowed to report. So what I'm about to say, I need to be very, very clear, has been stated by players in press conferences. I am not reporting. I have seen this with my own eyes. Moving into year 3, we've heard a lot from coaches and players about how this offense is evolving under offensive coordinator Drew Petzing. Players have told us it's a little bit more eye candy, I think is the term that Greg Dortch used. So more motion, it seems like. It seems like running it back with the same crew, keeping that continuity, because they really didn't add anybody in the offseason. So keeping that continuity, running it back with that same group, really is giving the Cardinals an opportunity to dive maybe deeper into the playbook and really expanding and opening up what Drew Petzing wants to do. And it's not to say that there was like a 3-year plan for the Cardinals to evolve their offense, where they were slowly going to open it up. And by year 3, that was going to be the magical season where everybody had kind of just gotten it. And things open up, and obviously, all of a sudden they're averaging 30 points a game. Obviously I would love that, but that's besides the point. That's not how NFL offense coordinators work. That's not how the Cardinals have approached this thing. But year 3, Drew Petzing, it feels like he's getting a grasp of what he likes and what he doesn't, so on and so forth. And it feels like Kyler Murray has had a pretty big influence on the schemes, the plays, all of that great stuff whenever it comes to trying to settle what can Drew Petzing's offense do. Petzing has been, rightfully so, a very hot topic in the desert. I'm still of the belief that if the Cardinals finish the same way they did last year, we're going to have a lot of conversations about Kyler Murray. We're going to have a lot of conversations about Drew Petzing. And I think Drew Petzing is the first out of that duo to go if we have to make those kind of decisions. But 2025 seems to be the year where a lot more emotion will be used, a lot more evolution, just in terms of eye candy will be used. It's going to be different. Whether that's going to be a good thing, whether it's going to be a bad thing, is obviously yet to be seen. We won't know until week 1 in New Orleans. But by all accounts, players mostly, the Arizona Cardinals offense has evolved. And I think it's really, really exciting if you're an Arizona Cardinals fan. And brings me to the last point I had. Like I said, I can't report anything that I've seen during practice, but I am just going to say this defense is legit. You've seen the highlights the social media team has posted. It's legit at all 3 levels. All 3 levels. They bolstered the defensive line with guys in the trenches, guys on the outside to rush the passer. Mac Wilson is probably going to be the green dot guy if I had to guess at this point in time. Who knows what's going to happen opposite of him in that defensive interior. And then that's secondary, even without Sean Murphy-Bunting. Yeah, this defense very, very much looks legitimate. I'm very excited for people to see it during training camp. Very, very excited. I think it's not a lot of times where a team, a unit, a squad will be as advertised in the NFL, because so many things can change. And like everything we see does need to be taken with a grain of salt, because this is only mini camp. They're in helmets. They're not really padded up, hitting each other. We'll see a little bit more live action whenever it comes to training camp. But from what we've seen at this point in the offseason, they look good. That is all I can say. They look legit. I think people should be fired the you-know-what up about this Cardinals defense in 2025, especially if Nick Rallis can really maximize the pieces, the new guys that he had brought in. So, yeah, it was a fun time at mandatory minicamp. It was a fun time at OTAs. There's a very big general belief that this Cardinals team can go places, and rightfully so. There's a buzz. There's a buzz. And I think covering football for a long time, being around the Cardinals facility for a while now, you can gauge when something is real. You can gauge when like the buzz and the belief is authentic. Like Jonathan Gannon's first year, lip service for a lot of the stuff that we heard. They knew they were gonna go 4-13. That was never a question. You felt that a little bit last year, and 2024 could have been a magical season if not for a few hiccups. But this team is locked and loaded. This Cardinals team heading into 2025 is locked and loaded. They are full steam ahead for the postseason. I'm not saying they're going to make the postseason. Shout out to Ben, man. Everybody, go subscribe to the Ben Garcia show. He's doing really, really great stuff over there, and he's consistent as hell. It's mind-boggling how much content he puts up on a day-to-day basis. Appreciate my guy. Yuma Drew? Yuma, oh man. BFE. Hope your morning is going well, Yuma Drew. Shout out to Bird Gang, everybody joining me right now on the live. We're about to wrap up, but mini camp in the books. The next time we will see the Cardinals on the football field is training camp at State Farm Stadium, July 22nd, I believe is the date that Jonathan Gannon had muttered. So we got a little over a month to keep ourselves busy, occupy us a little bit, and obviously, you know exactly where to come for all of the latest news, analysis, insight, and more, which is Cardinals on SI YouTube page. Go ahead, follow the website at si.com/NFL/Cardinals, which is going to be, if I can even pull it up. No. There we go. I'm there at the W stream. I'll be there for the red and white practice. Love to hear it, my man. I hope to see a whole lot of people at training camp in Glendale whenever that kicks off. Very, very excited for this year. Very excited for the Cardinals in general, my man. And I really can't preach that enough. So happy Friday, everybody. Shout out to my mom. Happy birthday for the lovely woman. I love you very, very much. And we will see you guys